Salutations, everyone. Hi, how are you
Hi.
doing? This is our show, Perspectives. We are your hosts. I'm Littyyy Bro Flacko. This is Holden Stephan Roy. Say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
Today we
That's it.
have today we have our coveted, fucking great, amazing artist, fantastic energy. I was just talking about her grandiose personality because she's got one. I can identify as another person with a grandiose personality.
So an asshole, basically. Yes.
I mean,
Just
I
like
guess
you.
that too.
That's a
Gifted
good start.
Gab. Gifted Gab, folks.
What's up?
That's awesome. Welcome. It's nice to have you here with us.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
So
Yo, it's
yeah,
fantastic to have
What's
you.
going on,
I
guys?
love that. I love that you're like uh on the go. You know what I mean? Like
I'm
in the,
never stationary, bro. Like I really wish I was that type of person, but I be moving around, bro.
you do.
I
No,
be
that's a
moving
fact. You
around.
do be moving around. You need to just move to New York City. You know there's a moving around
Pretty
ass city.
much. Yeah, I would do well. I would do well. But
You
y'all weather
would.
sucks too. So it's y'all weather
Yeah.
also has that same extreme. It's too extreme for me.
Yeah, too extreme for you, right? The cold be getting you, right? Where it's just like, why is it
Both.
this
Both.
cold?
It's
What
when it's
the
cold, it's dumb cold. And when it's hot, it's like hell. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no in between.
well, you got
I
like a
love that.
couple
I
of
love
weeks,
that
I'm
it's
sure.
both the descriptions of the extreme weather: dumb, cold, and hot as hell.
You feel me? Those are the spectrums. That's what you get.
Two
Cause you get
spectrums.
fucking with y'all.
All right.
So, listen. Usually we do this, away, and we're long winded, but we know that
Uh-huh.
you're like on the go today, and you got some important meetings that we do not want to leak into. So we're gonna
Come
do
on.
it a little bit, speed it up. You know what I mean? A little bit of speeded up version. Um, so why don't you just tell the people where you're from and what your name is, and then Holden's got his first question as soon as you're done with that.
Okay. Well, I'm Gab, Gifted Gab, Gabrielle, whatever the fuck you want to call me. I'm from Seattle. Um, Born and raised in the Central District, but I'm currently living in LA. I've been out here for about 2.5 years now. Um, I mean, I get you want me to tell the people what I do,
You can tell
Yes,
the people what
please.
you do.
my occupation. Um, I be doing stuff. Uh, I be rapping. I be singing. Um, I got a dope rap partner. Y'all just interviewed here recently. Blimes and I link up and do music from time to time. Um, shit. What else? I also do visual art. I be drawing, doodle on fucking everything. There's no there's no blank surfaces around me.
Mm.
Um,
And you're
I,
also a personality, right? Because when you guys are on cut, it's almost like you guys are personalities. You know what I mean?
oh
So
yeah,
like,
we have charisma. You know what I'm saying? We're not no poo butts out here. You feel me? Like we got the whole package.
I
We
love
co-
it.
we don't just make the music. We are the music. You feel me?
yes,
That's an amazing
yeah.
energy for real, though.
Really?
No, I appreciate that. So now that we know a little bit about who you are, plus your music's fantastic for real, like for real reals.
Thank you.
Um, we do have a bit of a token first question that tends to get everything kind of rolling off nice and smooth.
All
It's a bit.
right, let's do it.
It's a little bit of a story. When it lands, you can kind of take it off in whatever direction you want. Starts off with my
Okay.
girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes. She's got her cell phone, and she's busting that Black Eyed Peas song, the I Got a Feeling, ooh, and she's fucking
Oh
vibing,
yeah,
and she's doing
Jesus.
her thing, and she's washing the dishes, she's dancing around, and I started thinking a little bit about this song, right? Because now it's like
Uh-huh.
dishes music and it's chores music and shit. And that's a little bit of a
Yeah.
reflection of where we're at in life. Because if we take that same song 10 years ago and run it back in our lives, we sitting there in the clubs, super drunk, 2 in the morning, jumping around, dancing our asses off to that same very tune.
Facts.
And as time has gone on, it's like that song's placement in our life has evolved from party, trying to get laid music into chores, clean up the apartment, home kind of music. And it was just so
You're right.
nifty to me how these songs can go on these journeys with us in our life and completely evolve. And then I started
Damn, that's
thinking
really deep, bro.
all the people listening to Cardi B's and shit right now and all the little kids, and I'm like, y'all are gonna grow up and just be people washing dishes to that shit. And then I found out people just are washing dishes to that shit now. It is what it is. It's already dishes music to some people. And then
What?
then you gotta like think about how like that means everything about music is a bit of a journey, and we kind of on our own musical journeys as we do our things. And when we start talking about them, most of the time we bring it to that adolescent phase when we start to develop our identities and we start attaching ourselves to our first favorite artist, all that good stuff that comes for most of us. But the reality about music is that this shit starts like at the very beginning of our lives, the second we start like consuming music in the first place, which is like when we just start living. Like I can remember
Right.
being like super young, 4 or 5 years old, and my dad's got these like gray boxes, the amp and the radio and the tape deck, and they're all like connected together and wires be going all over the speakers and shit.
Yeah.
And he's busting his Led Zeppelin tapes and all that shit. And at night, it's the 90s dance music on the technos and whatnot. My mom's got like musicals and discos and all of her vibes I was less interested in. The car
My
had
parents
some
Right.
just play a
vibes,
bunch of Spanish music, man.
all that shit. But it really just like it creates kind of like this context and this foundation for like who we end up becoming like way later on with the music and whatnot. So I was hoping you could
Right.
take us back to being the youngest gifted Gab you can remember up in Seattle's and whatnot, and kind of walk us a bit through what it sounded like to be you before you had any control over what it sounded like.
I like that. That was a really long-winded but like very different way to approach the who is your musical inspiration question. I like that. I like that. Shit. Well, my mom, she was a really I distinctly remember her always she had a big record collection, and she would hide like she would have like the gospel and like the the soul shit like in front, like the James Browns and all that shit, but like in the back of the record collection, she would have the Ohio Players and Rick James and shit. And she was a huge Ohio Players fan, but them album covers were kind of freaky. And so I used to find them shits and and look at those and play those records. So it was always very much soul and funk. My mom was also really into the church, so a lot of gospel. My dad really wasn't a music person. Like probably the only person I know, like as a human, that like doesn't really care about music. Like my dad, he liked Eminem just because like he's also a white guy, so he like just identified with him. Nothing about that he was actually rapping about, but like just the fact that he was a white guy doing something. My dad was like, "All right, that's okay with me."
Wow. So you were able to just like go through the records as like a really young one and start playing your own records, like just with your own control
Yeah, pretty
over
much.
it.
Yeah, my mom like that like that little double decker had like the record player on top, and then it had like a 6 CD changer and then like a tape deck. You know what I'm saying? And, but yeah, so yeah, I would play my own little vinyls and tapes and CDs. So I was very much into music at a young age, and then I have an older brother, and he put me on to like the rap shit. So I would get his his CDs and listen to all the other shit. Like that's why I really found out like about Eminem, and like my brother's listening to like Brother Lynch and Twista and all that shit. And then because my dad didn't really know shit about music, like once I got like I might have been like maybe 9 or 10, he would take me, because this was when you had to have a parent or guardian be with you to get parental advisory CDs. So I would always drag him to Sam Goody and get CDs for me. So I remember the first one we waited in line to get was Ludacris's Word of Mouth, and I listened to that CD probably for like, that shit was it, like, no bullshit, was in my CD player. Between that and fucking was it Still I Rise, or what was the one Tupac one with Illuminati on it?
Oh,
And Baby Don't Cry.
Machiavelli.
Yeah, that one and Word of Mouth was in my CD player for like 6 years straight. My nigga, like, no lie, I listened to Word of Mouth like every day for like a good majority of my childhood. So Ludacris, obviously, very influential to me.
It's more than just.
But yeah,
like
just a mix of everything: soul, funk, gospel, rap, like a little bit of everything. My auntie was very big into neo soul. She was one of them, light incense and smoke weed and listen to Erykah Badu and like Dwele and shit like that all day. So.
But yeah, it's more than just the influences, right? Like, yeah, that's kind of a little bit part of it, but even then, it's more the foundational shit, like what your parents liked, because it kind of ties into it. But it's also stuff like you were able to have access to like music via your older brother, or the fact that your
right.
Dad, I never even heard of somebody who's like, my dad just don't like music. Like, that's a first for me, like, and then you're so
not
talented.
Even that he don't like it, but he doesn't care about. He's more like he'll listen to talk radio, so like NPR. And like all that shit is cool for him because he like would rather background, I guess, educational noise. But music, he's just not really, he didn't really care that much about it. That wasn't, so I didn't get any musical influences from my dad's side of the family. All that came from my mom.
But it's also just the access to it, right? Like, so many times we talk to people and they're like, yo, I just had the radio or whatever. And then in high school, we get unlocked all the music. And you're just like, nah, I was like super young and I got access to all of this. And I was just busting.
Yeah, no, I was tapped in. I was tapped in with the releases. I had the Word Up magazines. Like, no, I was very much into the shits. Always,
I feel you. I was the same way.
Like printing out lyrics. Like, I want to know what you say. I'm printing out the lyrics to all my favorite songs. I'm learning them. So when I go back to school, you feel me? Like, I know exactly what's going on. Like, yeah, it was a thing.
So you were like just super passionately consumed in like that level. Were you like rapping along to everything? Were you singing a lot when you were young?
Yeah. Growing up in the church, you type of choice. If you're a child, you just have to do whatever the fuck your mom or your grandma or whoever the fuck says so. So I was playing piano from when I was like 7 to about 12. I also played the drums. So I was also hands-on, musically as well. So yeah, so choir
at 12.
So yeah, I was saying like I'm not like no crazy like filthy drummer, but like, with most gospel or just gospel songs in general, it's the same exact beat pattern. You just either slow it down or, speed it up. So it's just one of them things where it's like, if the drummer doesn't show up to church that Sunday, like, just go play. And it's like, okay.
But that's
like,
that's
very
dope
much
though.
Not really taught, just figuring it out.
Yeah, but that's amazing. Like that's lit. Like the fact that you was able to do that. I did not have that. I did not have that. Like I had to work hard at like learning the little bit of violin that I learned. And it was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too difficult.
Right.
This is not natural to me. Like it didn't come to me at all, if much at all.
I feel that was like piano came pretty, like I was always like, my mom really had me into piano. So I had to do, I had a piano teacher. I did recitals. I had to practice, like every single day, 2 times a day. And then, by the time I got to middle school, I was like way more into basketball. And it was like I couldn't balance school and then, basketball practice. I wanted to play basketball all the time. And then also having to do piano, which then I was starting to like not really like anymore because it was just like, bro, this is dumb. Like, I'd rather hoop. And so my mom was like, okay, like I'm clearly not finna.
That sounded crazy. It sounded a little crazy, by the way. Like, you just like, see, like kids, we're crazy when we're kids, right? Where it's just like, you hear yourself now, like where you're just like, oh, fuck this piano shit. I just want to go hoop. Like, bro, you can hoop too.
Whenever.
Keep on doing the piano shit.
Yeah, but it was like, nah, my nigga, like, I don't want to be playing basketball all day and then I got to come inside early because I got to do dumbass piano practice. Like, this shit is hella gas.
You're going to miss everything that's in the streets, all the homies, things are going to happen. You're gonna be like the one that's left out.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
not lit.
So I had serious hoop dreams. You feel me? Like I was like majorly convinced at 13 that like I was pretty good at basketball, but I was like NBA, that's fucking whack. Like I'm trying to play with Iverson. So my goal is to be the first the first woman in the NBA. Like fuck the WNBA was like not even a thought in my mind. Like I was literally like let's make it to the league.
I'm gonna play with Iverson. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get in there.
That was my driving force. Literally, the day Iverson retired, that was the day I retired too. Like I was like, well, that was a good run for both of us. Yeah, that was it.
Gab was like, all right, there goes the balling.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm really like who like one of my first loves really is basketball. Like I really love basketball, but like it's very much Iverson driven. Like I only liked basketball to watch Iverson. I only hooped in his shoes. I only would, hoop in the number 3. Like it was very much obsessive, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like basketball, yeah, that's tight. But if Iverson isn't playing, like I really don't give a shit. But also I was kind of into the early, like the late 90s, early 2000s is like the best era basketball. Like I watched the Malice and the Palace like live on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, so far it's good. But so basically during that period, did you like just stop music entirely, or were you still singing and whatnot?
No, yeah, still forced to go to church, so still in the choir. It was just I didn't want to play piano anymore. Although I really wish I did because I was really fucking good. But like I said, just dumb teenage shit. Like this shit. I don't want to do this no more. I rather hoop all day. But that was kind of around the time when I was hooping, and just kind of becoming a teenager. That was when, I really started like writing and like actually rapping. Like before it was, knowing everybody else's lyrics. Like I could recite to you any, like Ludacris or like Twista, like Redman lyric ever. But like it was around that time where I actually started, like at lunchtime, niggas would be, that was like when, grinding came out. And I was like just the quintessential rapping beat. And then, you do the, little freestyle battles at lunch and shit like that. So it like kind of turned into that. And one of my best friends, she lived like right around the corner from me. And, we would, we would go to school and then like come home together and then write about all the bitches, like write raps about all the bitches we didn't like at school and shit. And then like go to school the next day. And then like cause chaos. You feel me?
You know what I want to take notice of is that like also like the MCs that you're naming, like Redman and Ludacris kind of have that energy and vibe. Like, you know what I mean? Talk shit about a bitch type of motherfucking vibe. I
like funny, like fun, like they're
funny,
very lyrical,
yes,
but like funny.
Lyrical,
theatrical.
but characters. You know what I mean? That embodied their characters and were the characters that they like were portraying,
with huge dynamic ranges.
Yeah,
like just at a musical level.
Both of them.
Same thing with Twista, and then adding Twista, where you're just going in like the opposite direction, and he's like just bullets. That's a crazy mix to get into at the start,
bro. Like I was so much. I'm like an obsessive person when I like really lock in on something. Mm-hmm. So like with the Iverson shit, when it was Iverson, it's all about Iverson. I know his stats. I know his first, middle, last name. I know his mom's name. I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know everything about this person. So when it came to music, it was the same thing. Like, and this was, so I'll go back to like LimeWire era. And this was when, people were getting discographies and hella music on LimeWire. I'm really into hip hop and shit. And, I'm saying like, I'm thinking I know every Ludacris song, but then it's like, whoa, there's albums I don't even know about. So like, I was just such in my own little world. Like, instead of listening to like new music that came out, although I was, hit to a lot of the new shit, it was more of like going back in the archives and finding more music of artists that I already liked. So like for like years, I built up this huge, like 2 hard drives full of like every single artist I could think of, imaginable, from across almost all genres. and just had their whole discographies, and I just listened to them. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you
in
use
turn,
LimeWire
I like
really
really got
smart.
into. Bro, so I got, oh my god, I got so much fucking music for free. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry now that I'm an artist, I understand how detrimental that is, but my nigga, I got every Twista album, I got every motherfucking Locks album, I got every JD, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have everything, every album, every mixtape, everything. And yeah, I would just study that shit. So I just became really, just really, really into that shit. So, like I said, not even just the Ludacris's and the Redmans. Like, I got really into like Big L at one point. Huge fucking fan of Big L. I got really, which then in turn really got me into digging in the crates. And then, I started listening to all the individual members. So like shit like that, just hella independent research for no reason.
It's super practical research for the life you've chosen, though.
Hey,
Right.
Yeah. And then when I lived a lot in middle school. I lived in Oklahoma. That's where my mom's side of the family is from, Oklahoma, Texas. And I lived in Oklahoma for about 3-4 years. And around that time, it was Chopped and Screwed was, I mean, it's always been a thing, but it was like really a thing at that time. And so I got really into, down south hip hop and Chopped and Screwed and shit like that. So, luckily for me, I got to be pretty like well-rounded as far as like knowing about hip hop and just, the shit that I like.
So at this time, did you want to be more like, okay, it was like you're doing the little, I guess, high school or school battles and verses and whatnot, but did you actually like want to be a rapper at this time? Did you want to pursue music in a serious way?
Nah, hell no. I still had hoop dreams. I just figured, I'm like, well, Iverson put out an album, so if he can do that and have a whole, persona as Jules, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I can do the same thing. But no, it was very.
I could be the first woman in the NBA and the first woman in the NBA to put out an album, a rap album. That's what she was thinking.
You see where my mind was at.
I immediately see the logic in it, where I'm just like,
I was very busy. I was very busy as a child.
I thought I was gonna be all 4 members of Jodeci all by myself. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, you know what I mean? So,
but you were dedicated, and that's what it was. I was super fucking dedicated. But no, I had no intentions. Even when, fast forward to like 2011, 2012, where I really started, like, decided I was gonna do music. Even then, it was just like, I mean, I guess I know so much about it, and I'm pretty good at, I have an ear for it. Like, it makes sense, but it was never. I don't think I ever had that moment, that I was just like, I'm going to be a rapper. Like, it kind of just happened, which is just kind of how my life seems to work. Like, things, it just kind of happens that way.
How does
I don't
it
know.
just happen that you start rapping? Like, that's a big, it just happened. Like, you had to like actually go into a studio, or like there's a lot of things that have to happen to start rapping.
I mean, there is, but there really ain't. And I'll say that it's not when it's not a conscious decision. It wasn't like I did all this studying to become the biggest rapper. It was just, I like music that much. I want to know everything about it. So if somebody asks me about something, I can tell you, you know what I'm saying? It was more just knowledge driven rather than like any type of profession. So like I said, I'm good at writing, I sing in the choir, so I have a really good ear for harmonies. I played the piano, so I get that side of things. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was kind of one of those like it's in me, not on me type thing. So like, it really do just be happening like that, when it's like you don't consciously make that decision. It's just universal things happen that lead you to this path, and then it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll, rock with this, see where it goes,
Okay,
and that's just kind of how
that's a really
I've
good answer.
been doing stuff.
That makes a lot of sense.
See, it's a little bit like the way that you're conducting the interview. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna pick up and go. And I mean, right now you got somewhere with an objective of mine, same as like back then, right?
So
So
I
you just
guess
picked up and go.
I'm
It's
not.
kind of like this recurring thing.
So what was the
Yeah.
pivotal? So what circumstances led to you starting to pursue music?
um, Mostly, my mom passed away from cancer when I was 13, and around this time, which was the reason why I got sent to Oklahoma, was just because she wasn't, able to take care of me at that time because she was going through a lot of chemo and shit. And I mean, my dad was also around. They were, married up until she died, but like he was just very much more like just my mom's husband, but like not in the sense that he wasn't a father, but like she was the disciplinarian, she was the breadwinner, she was the, what I'm saying, like she did every family event. It was my mom's side of the family. Like it was very much, centered, around my mom and what she wanted to do. So it was just, I guess, in their best interest at the time to send me down to Oklahoma to stay with my aunts. And, just the stress, like I was fucking 12, 13. And it was just a humongous, like, life change to move from, Seattle. I get taken out of school, like literally the beginning of 7th grade, get shipped down to Oklahoma, and not Tulsa or Oklahoma City or no like city shit. I was in fucking Okmulgee, Oklahoma, which is like 45 minutes from Tulsa, which is the nearest actual city to like do anything. You feel me? So like uprooted my life. My mom is fucking dying. I don't know what's going on. I don't get to see my friends and shit no more. Like I moved to this new podunk ass town. I don't really know my aunt and uncle like that much. So it was just, I didn't really have anybody to talk to for real. So, I just like read a lot of books and watched a lot of movies and, did a lot of writing. And then I think also a lot of it came from rebellion because my aunt was very much, super, super like Christian, like crazy Christian. Like she would buy the oils and all the shit from like TV, like ridiculous Christian. And so obviously hip hop and secular music was like absolutely not allowed. So I had to I had to jump through great lengths and get my ass whipped many of times to like, listen to music, and like I had to sneak CD players and like MP3 players, and what I'm saying, like it just turned into like a real rebellion thing because it's like, bro, this is like everything was the devil. You know what I'm saying? So all that shit, couldn't bring that devil shit in her house. Everything's the devil, is gonna brainwash you, all that shit. And it's like, bro, this is my like the only person I even have to fucking talk to is myself. So like you're not finna just take away, what I'm saying, my inspiration, my music and shit like that. So a lot of it was just writing through, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and just that rebellious nature.
Okay, so you're in Oklahoma and you're writing and you're doing all this, and do you like when does it get to a point where you actually start making music?
I didn't start music until I moved back to Seattle around like I guess it was around maybe like 10th or 11th grade, and I still wasn't making music, but still doing the just like freestyling, like just off some funny shit. Like I said, like just some like Ludacris type shit. Hella theatrical, just funny, clowning, almost like roasting type of comedy or roasting type of rapping. And when did it kind of, I want to say
that's why you kind of have like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like that's why I kind of hear that like you have like a battle rapper's braggadocio type of like energy in a lot of your songs. You know what I mean? Like some real like come with it, bitch. Like what you will die, which is some very for again for the artists that you listen to, they kind of had that energy too. Redman stayed with the like I will body you on these tracks type of like energy, and Luda too, so like like it's I could see where like they influence that energy in you because I hear it in your songs,
Exactly. And being like being like an athlete, what I'm saying? I just have a hella competitive nature about me. Like everything, even if it's not a competition, in my mind, it's a competition for me. You feel me? So like, everything is like kind of competitive, almost like competitive driven. But And also, like, I always hear all the time, like, I'd be a great battle rapper, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm too sensitive. Like, I'm not. There's just like, yeah, I'll be
You want
good
to
to an
fight.
extent, but I'll fight. Like, I'll really fight. Yeah. So like,
You're
it
not
wouldn't
gonna
be a
sit here and
good.
talk
It
about some
wouldn't be a lucrative
disrespectful
career
shit
for
and
me.
think that it's gonna be good. Yeah.
That's a very honest answer, Stills.
Exactly. So I'm too sensitive for battle rap. I'm not doing that. But I enjoy it. I appreciate y'all doing it. You know.
Yeah. Your partner
But
did it very well. You know, we were talking about that. So yeah,
right.
I get. Yeah, absolutely.
I commend y'all so much. I wish I could, but I cannot. I don't have the temperament for that shit.
Yeah,
But what was the original question though?
we were asking how you, I guess, migrated into actually making music, and then you brought us back to grade 11.
Oh, you said like when I first recorded.
Yeah.
When I first recorded my song.
Well, yeah, like all of
Yeah,
it.
it was like it had to have been around maybe. Oh man, this was like maybe I guess shortly after I got back home to Seattle, so maybe like 2009, 2010. Was when I met through a homegirl of mine, this guy named Guyton, and he goes by Toxic. He's from Memphis, and he, you know what I'm saying, it was I had like little songs, and not even like real songs. It was more so just I recorded videos of myself rapping over like beats, like Jay-Z beats or whatever on YouTube, and just posted them, or like, and my friends would like them and shit like that. So she was like,
But
oh, I
that's a
want you to
demo.
introduce this. Basically.
Back then, that's
Basically.
a demo. You know, back then the demo essentially became like your, I can just rap over this instrumental,
Right.
Like, and
You're
people
right.
were getting on like that. So it's not
Yeah.
like, like, it's not like it's something like, oh, nah. It ended up becoming the way that, like, that was the demo of the time, right?
That's facts.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It was the demo at the time. So yeah, my friends were, she introduced me to this guy, and we became hella close. And he was like the first person that I like knew as like a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like I had cousins and stuff that produced, but I never knew like an actual person like, that I knew for real that like actually rap for real. And so I remember he took me to the studio one time, and he played the beat. We're sitting there writing our verses. And I go in the booth and I record it. And I just remember when I came, like, this was my first time actually like writing a verse and like actually recording it. And just, I don't remember it being like that good or nothing like that. But I guess just the allure of like just this bitch coming over. She's never rapped before. She wrote this verse. She goes in and then like comes out. I'm like, was it good? And I guess everybody was just like, had their jaw dropped and was just like, who the fuck are you? Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is not your first time that you ever rapped. I'm like, yeah, nigga, like, I mean, I rap, but like, I don't, like, yeah, this is my first time ever recording. And I just remember just the response being like so awestruck that I'm like, okay, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I might have something. And then
maybe
it just
I
kept
should
happening.
give
like,
up these ball dreams and focus on this music that clearly is my path and shit.
Right. And it just kept happening after that. So like every time I would go to a studio and record with something, it was like the same response, just like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, I don't know if they're just gassing me or like, am I really that good? So it's like, okay, let me just keep doing it.
A testament to your upbringing, a testament to your upbringing, right? Because a lot of people tend to find that a lot of people are a little bit gullible and maybe not that like, critical, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think these motherfuckers lying to me. People gassing me up. Y'all gassing me. Bullshit. I'm gonna go somewhere thinking I'm the man. And then you went other places and you got the same response. You start like, oh shit. Like, I think I might actually be the man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then people, started reaching out to me, and I'm like, to me, I'm fucking nobody. I mean, not nobody, but just like I'm the girl, from around the hood that like hoops and shit like that. But like people are coming to me being like, oh, you rap, like we should rap together type shit. And it's like, oh damn, like niggas is hitting me up to rap, you know what I'm saying? So like that's how it that was when I guess it kind of came about, like maybe I should take it seriously. But like I said, I don't think I ever had the thought where I was like, this is what I'm actually going to do,
Work.
Yeah, but that whole progression of events is amazing and so worth talking about still, because you sound really cool and all of that.
Big facts. No, yeah. And that's also not atypical. Like dudes tend to be very Men can be very territorial and act
Mm-hmm.
wild, just
Like men.
whole ass bitch made motherfuckers
No, and
about like
there
a
was a
woman,
lot of that.
about like a woman that, you know, is really nice like that, and play like, but also try to play, you know, gatekeepers and keep you away and not want to collab. So the fact
Yeah.
that there were still men that like were acknowledging how good you were, you know what I mean? Like it's like a
Mhm.
testament, you know? It's
Right.
testament to like your skill level and how good you actually are.
Right. And I would say I think I got lucky in the sense that I did, you know, obviously I did deal with a lot of like misogyny and just bullshit and like niggas hating. But for the most part, like a lot of niggas were like pretty protective of me, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I was good and also they knew, you know who I am. So I did get a lot of love, but like also, you know, when you're getting into like the actual like, you know, when you're like actually starting to perform and you're starting to like, you know, get in with these talent buyers and you know, actually doing performances and shit, like that was when, you know, shit got tricky. Cause then it was like, you know, there would be times where like the pay was like clearly different, like astronomically different, you know what I'm saying? And like shit like that. But then, you know, they didn't account for me not saying nothing. So like there was many times where it was like, no, I'm finna call this shit out. And then like obviously things were like, you know, it was a bunch of, you know, apologies and like, oh, we didn't like, yeah, you didn't think that y'all I guess y'all so used to just like, you know, a new rapper coming in the game and just taking whatever scraps you give. But it's like, no, I know niggas that rap too, and they're telling me what you're giving them. And it's like, we don't have our, you know what I'm saying? Like the numbers compute. You feel me? So like now you explain to me why I have all, you know, A, B, and C, and he has A, B, and C. Why is he getting paid this and why am I getting paid that? You know, so like, you know, that I think that got me a lot of respect in the sense that like, you're not finna just play me. Like, just because I'm a bitch, like, no, my nigga, like, you're not finna do that. So.
Yeah. Yo, I think that actually speaks volumes to what I was saying at the beginning. And you know what I mean? Like your personality, you got a big personality. You're not afraid of like this is me, you know? And like people like that are necessary in this world, you know?
Yeah, because I was just thinking, yo, how many other people they'll get fucked and then don't say anything, and then it's
don't
like
say nothing.
You're just in this situation where nobody even knows about it unless somebody like you comes and talks about it.
Right. And then like seeing, you know, my friends being mistreated, like I don't like that. Like don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you can say a lot about me, but like don't say nothing about my niggas. So it's like if I see my niggas getting fucked over, now I have to investigate that. And then now that I'm in this investigation, I'm finding out that I too am getting fucked. So now I got to speak for myself as well as these other niggas that you fucking over that don't have, you know, that don't want to say nothing because they're like, I don't want to fuck up the relationship. Fuck, the relationship is already fucked because they fucking you. So say something about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now, a lot of times I've had to, and I don't want to say I've had to speak, but it was very necessary. Like I said, because I'm gonna always defend myself. But it's like in the midst of finding out, you know what I'm saying? Now I got to defend another group of people, and it's like, nah, this shit ain't right. So if I guess I got to take the bullet. So like a lot of shit, especially in like Seattle hip hop and shit, and like the era of like, you know, myself and like More Gang with like Jardy and Nacho and all of us, like there was a lot of situations where we took like a lot of L's, like a lot of bullets, you know what I'm saying? And like speaking out and like turning down shit, you know, just off the strength of like, you're just not finna disrespect us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, well, I guess we missed out on this opportunity, but you know, not to, you know, you're gonna next time, if there is a next time, you're gonna come correct.
Yeah, that's serious.
You know, so
that speaks volumes though to your character, right? That's character. That's what you call character. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that, the fact that you can't be quiet about it. Like, nah,
right.
I understand because I'm the same way about a lot of that. Where it's just like, I ain't gonna be quiet. I'm gonna motherfucking kick and scream. Well, that's what we gonna have a confrontation about this. It can be healthy. It doesn't need to be bad, right? But we're gonna come to a head about this, and we're not gonna act like this elephant that we all see in this room is not in this room, because I see this motherfucker with my own eyes. And we not gonna play dumb, you know? But that's character, you know? And that's like, that's again,
But it's also like super interesting, right? Because if you think in short-term gains, people will often take short-term opportunities, jump and get fucked, let's say in this context. But y'all took immediate losses, a lot of bullets then. But now shit's different, I imagine. I mean, you seem to have lots going on for you. And I don't imagine you get to the point where shit's all hella good now if you didn't build the integrity back then.
Look at you, Holden. Did you just say hella good? Look at him.
Yo, hella's really big in Montreal. All that LA shit's as cool. All of that's as cool as fucking New York, right? So like to me, there's no difference. Like LA and New York, that's like that's the double shit.
Yeah.
What it transcends for sure.
Big facts.
But my music journey has been. I mean, like even during the around like 2012 to about 2016, 15, 16, I was in a group called More Gang, and it was 12 of us, and I was the only girl. So, that was its whole that's its whole fucking era. Like,
what's the Seattle hip hop scene like? I'm just curious because I don't know a lot about it. I know there's a couple of huge names, and then it's like every other scene that's not one of the huge scenes, where you just kind of know it exists, but you don't know about it. What's it like over there?
Right. So the Seattle scene, specifically the hip hop. Well, I'll say Seattle is a very a very artsy city. So like you have even aside from like the Jimi Hendrix and the Nirvanas, like it's very much like we had Alvin Ailey, Langston Hughes. Jacob Lawrence was in Seattle. You got Chihuly, you know what I'm saying? So like hella like visual art, dancing, all that shit. And I was very much, my mom, had me involved. Like we used to go to Alvin Ailey Dance Studio and all that shit when I was a kid. But yeah, Seattle has always just been hella artsy. And then as far as the music goes, like, back in the day, it was pretty much like Sir Mix-a-Lot, you feel me? And then you advance, and then you have like the physics, and who else? Like who else was there in that time? Like you have Vitamin D. I'll say a lot of producers come from Seattle. So like the Jake ones, Vitamin D. I think Four Color Zach is from Seattle. But yeah, there's a lot of hitters from Seattle, but like hella low key. And I'll say that like just being from Seattle has gotten me so many opportunities, because it's like, it just seems like, especially in most industries, like there's somebody that's from Seattle or there's some type of connection. And it's such like you said, like a small scene, like almost like a niche type thing, where it's like if I'm in certain settings and someone finds out I'm from Seattle, like it always like helps my situation, because they're like, oh, like, such and such. And it's like, yes, we all know each other. So like, if it's anybody, especially if they're Black or they do music, like, yes, I know them and we're probably really good friends. So, you know what I'm saying? It really helps me a lot in a lot of circles. But I would say probably in the last 10 years, it's been really growing with the, like Macklemore was coming up around that time of like the Blue Scholars and shit like that. So around like the early 2000s. And it's kind of just been slowly progressing up until like, Macklemore made his big break. And that was obviously what got like a lot of eyes on Seattle and Seattle music. But it's gotten to the point where like I meet so many people that move to Seattle for music. And I'd be like, for what? Like, why are you moving to Seattle to do music? But it's like, there's obviously something there that people are seeking, seeking it out. So there is talent there, but it's
I think that it's like
we don't have the infrastructure.
I think it's like Minneapolis and Memphis, where it's like it's not the big music city that like people imagine when they think of like New York City or LA or even like, maybe places like Miami and Atlanta. But like it's this city that like, a lot of artists come from there. A lot of stage hands probably come from there. A lot of just people that work the actual industry of like music that like are there. So and it's probably like Minneapolis and Memphis, a very supportive musical city. So like there's probably like a lot of independent acts that blow up because that city like helps their like indie act like really blow up because they are like
Okay, I have a question
indie
then.
city type of city.
What
that is facts.
what tips
So
would
go
you
ahead.
give a city to be more supportive in that sphere? If y'all are supportive, then y'all have a success model. So what does a supportive scene do for itself?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I was gonna say the artists we're very tight knit and we definitely help each other. It's more of like you said, like it that the comparison of like Minnesota is perfect. Like it has a scene, you know, people move there, they want to see it and shit like that, but there's no like real infrastructure. And I would say the detriment to like Seattle being any bigger is one, the gentrification. So a lot of like the culture, like if you've never been to Seattle before, you'll never be able to really experience Seattle because like Seattle that I know died about 10, 15 years ago. You feel me? So like a lot of the places, the venues, the people either like died or got, you know, pushed out hella far because of the gentrification. Amazon came and really just fucked that city the fuck up. So you almost be hard pressed to find a lot of people that are from Seattle because there's so many transplants because they moved there to work, which is, you know, in turn has fucked up, you know, a lot of other things that come into play, you know, into Seattle. So like I said, just the culture isn't the same, and it would be hard for me to like really explain or like show you how Seattle was because those things just don't even exist no more. So, you know, in turn with that, it's like it puts a lot of pressure on the artist to have to be like, okay, so not only do I have to perform, you know, and be this artist, but it's like, I also kind of have to tell you that it's like, bro, do y'all not have anybody of color on these boards? Like, oh my God, Seattle's so fucking white. And it shows when they try to throw these cultural events. And it's like, y'all don't know one nigga? Like, not one. You don't know one nigga to put on the board to be like, hey, guys, let's incorporate this. Or like, that's very inappropriate. That doesn't represent anybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you speak out to that, but instead of taking that, you know, that criticism or what you're saying to be like valid, they're just like, oh, you're being aggressive, or like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like we have degree. I've been working in this, you know, industry for 10 years. And it's like, that's fine, but you're a white woman and you're trying to explain to me what the fuck hip hop is or try to put on a hip hop event. You know what I'm saying? So it's like always a constant, you know, tooth and nail battle when like, it's like, I just can't sit back, especially this is my city. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I also take a responsibility of, like I said, like you can't really capture the essence of Seattle anymore because I don't want to say anymore, but like true Seattle, you know what I'm saying? It's represented through its people now. You feel me? So like people like me, like, oh, okay, I meet you and like I get to know you and it's like, damn, I almost feel like I know exactly what Seattle is like. So in turn, with having that responsibility and being an artist from Seattle, and it's like y'all, these white people that are trying to, you know what I'm saying, like represent the culture that y'all in a sense kind of like stripped from us, and now you're trying to like, you know, give us, you know what I'm saying, like it's so many fucking politics in Seattle
So many
music that is
layers.
very much tiresome. Like it's so like you can't just rap, especially if you have a conscience and like you said, character. Like you can't
Yeah.
just rap, like have to just like I'm gonna just rap and put it out. Like no, nigga, I have like a responsibility of being like, no, you're not representing it right. You feel me? Like this is not, no, this does not represent my people. This does not represent my hood or my you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a lot of fucking responsibility to be like an artist, a well-known artist from Seattle. And I'm sure like you said, like Minneapolis and Memphis and, you know, other places like that, I'm sure there's plenty of artists that are just like, bro, I wish I could just like make the music and not have to like do all, like be a fucking politician too. But it's like, it chose, like I have to do it. Nobody else is really gonna do it or convey it in the way that I can. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Actually, you know what? Speaking of how you convey, right? Let me ask you this question that I'm curious about. Was your flow when you first started rapping? Was your flow your flow now? Like, is this the flow that you was born with, or did you grow into it?
Damn, that's a good question. I would say just because I always I've always been musical, so I've always paid attention to like the music aspect of it. Aside from just like lyrics, I've always paid attention to, different flow, like cadence and flow and tone is very big to me. Like I'm a person that likes lower tone. So like, when it comes to like R&B, just to name like a T-Boz type tone, like very deep, like Tony Braxton, like that's my shit. Even when it comes to rap, I like deeper tones, and I really pay attention to how like, the words fall in the pockets of the beat and shit like that. So like, I guess it kind of like just subconsciously, just from all the music and all the music I fucking listen to, I think probably just formed a way. Like I hate to keep saying like subconscious and like I don't consciously think of these things, but like it really be like that. Like I'd never consciously been like, I'm going to do this flow like this. It's very much as I write it, the flow, writes itself. And then,
Which to me just makes sense because you put all that muscle memory work in back when you were young, memorizing everybody else's flows and doing a bunch of shit. So it's a super...
Exactly. And I'm big on, on top of that, one thing I did take away from my dad, he was very big on vocabulary. So I remember because, my mom, she was a postal worker. So she worked all the fucking time. And there would be a lot of mornings where my dad would have to get me ready for school, and he had to, do my hair, which, he tried. He did what he could as a Russian, as a Russian guy. But you know what I'm saying? He, like, while he was doing my hair, we would do like vocabulary. So like he would tell me a word and I would have to, spell it, say it back, and then give the meaning. And like shit like that always stuck. Like, on top of me, like I was, always big in reading and in writing, and just language arts and shit was always my strong point. And like, just the nature of like, there's always another word for a word. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not just one word to explain something. And that's kind of just always something that stuck with me, which I think really, comes to play, in my music. Cause it's like, I'm not fishing for these big words. It's just, I just know these words, and I'm, what I'm saying? I know how to use them. And then
it's a part of your vocabulary.
Exactly. And then in turn of knowing, like the structure of music, there's ways that you can, bend words and use different words so that it hits different in these, what I'm saying? Like it's a real scientific thing that like, and when I explain it, it's like hella complex, but like, to me,
you sound like
it's
a
very
rap
much
nerd
a natural.
Right
if it counts, I'm loving it. I agree with everything you're saying.
It's great.
I'll follow it.
Everything.
I'm like, yo, this rap nerd shit makes sense to me.
Holden,
I'm a rap nerd.
knows it.
I'm a rap
I love
nerd.
it because I'm a nerd too. You know what I mean? And it's like I get everything that you're saying.
This is dope.
And that's why I'm able to identify.
She said it's science. I call it math all the time. I call music math as much as I possibly can.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is. We break it down, it just makes perfect scientific sense. But like it is that deep, but at the same time, it's hella not. Like it's hard to explain.
I say it's just vibes, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Just vibes,
Like just a women of prayer, my nigga. I'm just living.
But at the same time, it is all those things. I think that that's the beautiful thing about music, right? Is that it is all those things. It is math, it is science. And it is just fucking vibes. Like it is all those things all at once,
I like music.
Exactly.
It's pretty magical.
I like music.
So I have a question. How did you end up working with Atmosphere? So I do album reviews, and I review this Atmosphere album in 2019, the whatever one. And you're on the track Whenever. So I went back earlier and watched my review of you. And we were just like, oh, she's so dope. She's so fucking cool. And I'm like, yeah, we said good shit. This is not bad. But how'd you do that? It's such a cool song. And like, how'd you end up being there in that? That's to me pretty fucking, I like Atmosphere a lot. So like, to me, it's pretty fucking incredible.
So it's a pretty funny story. I was on Twitter one day, right? And I had seen, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure somebody brought it to my attention. Like they'd either DM me or tag me in it. And it was, I can't remember what the thread or the context of the tweet, but it was some chick that said something like, somebody said something like Gifted Gab. And the lady was like, oh yeah, every time someone mentions Gifted Gab, I get disappointed because I think it's Gift of Gab. Some like slick ass shit like that. So like, I bet, I like snapped at her And then like she said something back to me, and I did some research, and I come to find out she's a writer at Ambrosia for Heads, which was strange to me because Ambrosia for Heads has always been like hella supportive. You know, I'm like has always, you know, been supportive of me like my whole career. So I'm like, okay. So like it just gave me, I don't know why or what reason. I don't know if like Mercury was in retrograde or why like just that comment just like pissed me off so much, or just like I just felt like I had to, instead of like just cussing you out on Twitter, I had to take it a step further and like make a whole like wrote like a whole like 84 bar, you know what I'm saying, like diss track to this bitch. And I did it over a Gifted Gab beat on top of that. It was a Gifted Gab beat. And I did this whole diss track and I directed toward her, and it like blew, obviously it like went hella fucking viral. Slug seen the shit. He like retweeted it and DM'd me and was like, that was fucking awesome. Like I love that you did that. You know, would you like to collab on a song with me? And I'm like, holy shit, yes, I would I would like to collab on a song with you. And then that's how that shit kind of came out. And then fast forward, like Ambrosia for Heads, they end up like the head of Ambrosia for Heads end up reaching out to me and like apologizing on like her behalf. Like we don't even know what the fuck that bitch was talking, like loosely, like we don't know what the fuck that bitch was talking about. Like we've been fucking with you, we'll always fuck with you. Like I'm sorry that had to happen, but like that was hella filthy. Like that was pretty dope that you did that. You know what I'm saying? So,
that is dope. Like I think this is dope as fuck. This story right now is just like, yo, what? That is ill as fuck.
I thought it was gonna be like a lot different.
Gab was like, yo, this motherfucker over here talk shit, right? So I made this track. Know what I mean? And when I did my diss track,
do that.
other known rappers were like, yo, that was type dope. You want to do some shit together? Gab was like, yeah, I guess.
Literally, and that like literally formed Slug and I's relationship. Like we ended up doing, like Blimes and I ended up doing sound sets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Slug hits me when he comes to town and vice versa. Like it really formed like a real, you know what I'm saying, friendship. And then in turn, knowing Slug, and then, you know, Slug and Murs being good friends, in turn we met, and now like me and Murs are like the best of friends. You feel me? So like just it's that 2 degree of separation just in everything. But like when it comes to music, like once you meet one person, you're gonna meet fucking everybody. You know?
You know what, sis? This is hilarious, and it almost is like a 360. Because before we do the interview, right? We like sit there and play your music and whatnot for like an hour, you know? And we were playing your music, and Holden and me were talking, and we were talking about Murs. And because he does Twitch a lot, he does raid parties sometimes to Murs's channel. To Murs's channel, right? And so he's like, yo, Murs don't be looking happy to be on Twitch. And I'm like, I think you might just be confusing his
like stone cold like
face. You know what I mean? As a person who married a woman who has been like, right, so like my Jess James, the partner in rhyme, right, and my wife,
my girlfriend just commented that he does always look annoyed. It's not just in my head. I'm gonna throw it out there.
So check it though. Funny. So but it's gonna be this, which is like the bro Jess, the wife, right? They have a problem that happens to them where like they just have a face and they're just existing in the world. And then people come up to them with that face. And then people come up to them and they're like, hey man, what's wrong? And they're like, well, fucking nothing was wrong until you fucking asked me what the fuck is wrong because of my fucking face existing. And now I'm upset because you're making me feel like something's wrong because your perceptions of my fucking face. This is my face that I exist with. Excuse me that it makes you think that it's angry or that it's upset by something. It's just my fucking face. And it was existing and it was fine until you asked about it. And you disturbed it by asking about it. So like I have people in my life like that. So when I hear that, that's kind of like the go-to in my head is like, I think you might just be confusing their face, you know? Like,
that's super fucking funny.
But like
I've never watched his Twitch stuff, but like I know Murs, and he does have like a very, but also he has like the fucking, you know what I'm saying, like the beard, and like you can't really see much of his facial features because it's very much covered in hair. But at the same time, like his attitude, like he is very much a happy go lucky guy.
Super happy go lucky guy.
That's super funny that he does not, that it doesn't like show that.
No, because like I'm like a big, like I'm a fan of Murs, right? Like I've watched him
like that, but I've met him. So like,
bro, he'll be the best, the funniest, coolest guy you ever meet.
When I met him, I could tell that he's a good guy. He was really happy go lucky, like you said, and I could tell that that's his vibe all the time, right? Yeah. So like, I'm just like hearing Holden, I'm like, that's crazy because I think of Murs and I think of like this super happy go lucky guy.
I picture him with the smiles and shit.
Even when I do see him, like, because I've seen him in interviews before where like, or like, I don't know if it was GQ or maybe it was a cut thing. I don't know, but they like, they were capturing him straight up, right? And when he's just looking and like, he's just sitting there looking with no reason to be smiling, right?
Right.
I could see where people might think that like Murs is a serious guy,
especially if you come in on a raid, right? So usually a stream has a lot of watching music videos and shit, right? So you come in and it's like a raid, and then Murs is just staring at shit, no expression, not moving, almost for like, and then he'll like
kind of zoned out.
So it's not again like. It's like, I don't know if I'm like maybe misreading it because I'm also not like coming in from the beginning of the stream. I'm like coming hot off my stream, landing there.
So you don't know what occurred beforehand.
Nah.
Like something could have
happened.
But
it happened like 5 times in a row, and I'm like, and then I watched for a bit, and then he just might be like, I might just be landing right in the midst of the shut the fuck up part of the stream. Like every single time by mad coincidence. But I fucks with
That's
Murs.
hilarious because we love to give each other shit. So I'm definitely about to call him and be like, bro, it's been brought to my attention that like you need to fix your fucking face. Like fix your face when you're doing your stuff. My nigga, like people think this is hella mean.
This is on the internet now, and I'm just like this whole conversation, Flacko, bro. For real. I'm like, oh my gosh. I fucks with Murs. I just want to put it out there.
I'll make a clip out of it and at him on Twitter.
Yes,
I want it to be said.
Fix your goddamn face.
Nah, I like his music a lot. I can say that much.
Oh yeah. If nothing else, Murs gonna rap. Murs is gonna motherfucking rap.
And I discovered him with that show he was doing. Because I didn't know him from music at first. He ended up on a YouTube show with Hip Hop DX for a minute. That's what got me into Murs. I watched that shit like fucking religiously. And then he stopped.
Wait, what show is it?
The fucking one he took over for Justin Hunt on the something. It was like 2-3 years back. I can't remember the name of it right now.
On Hip Hop DX. Yeah, I remember that.
I watched that shit.
He was on there for a second. I think it was like he was taking over like the editing position. Like he was taking over kind of like the helming the direction of where Hip Hop DX was supposed to be going in, or something like that. If I'm not mistaken.
He was on camera, and then at the same time, I think he got signed to Stranger. He was involved with Stranger at the time, and it was just a whole coincidence of things that put Murs in my face. And then I just got really into his vibe and energy. So if it's being said, I fucks with Murs, okay? Just when you land on his Twitch in the middle of the stream, it's just like dead ass fucking staring shit. I don't know him like that. He's not my homie. I've never met him in real life or anything.
That is so fucking funny.
He's just like a celebrity dude that I'm like, yo, that's Murs, like the real Murs. You know,
really cool guy, man. Wild down to earth.
Super regular guy.
Super regular. Treats everybody super regular. That's how I know.
Yeah, that's
know.
Who else from Rhymesayers? We just got a question from the chat. Who else from Rhymesayers would you want to collab with?
Oh man, what's her name? Is it pronounced Palms? Is it Palms? She's a female. I don't know if she's still signed to Rhymesayers now that I say that, but I know she was signed to Rhymesayers at one time. But we follow each other on Twitter, and she's fucking hilarious. And I listened to her some of her shit, and she's fucking dope. Let me see who else from Rhymesayers. I don't know, man. I feel like I kind of already got the like Atmosphere, those are my buddies. Murs is my buddies. Like, I don't really know who else that like I would really be dying to collab with, but I'm like, you know, I love collabing with the OGs because like in my eyes, like those are my peers. Like even though I'm like only 30, like
Nah,
those
yo.
like those
That's
guys is my
basically a
peers.
bar on
You
that
know-
track.
Yeah.
That's fucking blessed. That's
Literally.
You know
consistency.
what? That ass. Like I asked you about your flow because earlier also, like I was saying, like as we were listening to your music, that like your flow almost gives me like a Method Man type of like vibe. You know what I mean? And so like
You know that's my nigga.
you very much so, yeah, you know, like, yeah, you spoke, I say every so often on the show, like speak it into being, speak it into existence and shit. Like being timid about shit ain't gonna get you nowhere. Nobody's great story ever started with like, yeah, and he was really timid. You know? Nobody's
Right.
great story
he was
ever
very
ends up
unsure
with.
of himself.
He was very
Yeah, no.
unsure
Fuck
of
ton
himself.
of
and
fiction
timid.
starts that way.
You know,
But no,
like
that's fair.
fuck out of here. Like it
Hey,
starts
really,
with like
I'm really hella blessed in the sense that like I'm really proud of what I done just off the strength of like me just being good at what I do and just my personality, just, you know, like genuinely being a good person. Like I was raised right. Like I constantly have to remind myself every single day, like we're very much alike in the sense, Dutch, we're constantly annoyed. And we're annoyed because we're good people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm constantly frustrated and irritated by things because it's like, why the fuck weren't you raised how, like it just, you know what I'm saying? Like now getting older, like I have to realize like, bro, everybody did not have your mom, my nigga. Like they weren't raised the way that you were raised, so they don't think the way that you think. So it's like you have to realize that like a lot of people just aren't shit just because they just weren't raised, you know what I'm saying, with certain values or whatever the fuck. But like it's like I just say like a lot of these things like I kind of just knew was finna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like even just in the wildest imagination of being like me and Method Man are gonna be friends one day. And then like we actually are, like as crazy as that is, it's like really not that crazy because it's like I always knew, like I just knew that like, bro, I'm too filthy. You know what I'm saying? Like even if niggas don't fuck with my music, which is like, you know, even if niggas don't fuck with my music, they gonna fuck with me or vice versa. If they, you know, niggas gonna fuck with, you know, or whatever. So it's just like the things that have happened and like the accomplishments I made and the people I've met, like it was very much like I knew it was gonna happen. I didn't know how it was gonna happen because like I just don't force anything. Like to go back to the shit where I say it's just not a lot of things. It's just not. I just didn't think about it. Like it just kind of just happened. Like I'm very much a universe person. Like things just happen the way they're supposed to happen when they happen. You know. So it's not surprise. Like none of these things is surprising to me. Like I'll get excited when it happens. Like damn, I meant it. Like ooh, I'm hella good, my nigga. Like I really manifested that shit. I knew it was gonna happen, but it's like never a shock because it's like. Of course, bitch. Like that's what the fuck you do.
That's
like
exactly.
You're supposed to know these people. Matter of fact,
exactly.
they're supposed to know you. Like they're supposed to know you. You know.
They are facts.
Yeah.
They got to work with you. You know, not
right.
like not the other way around type shit. You know, like
exactly.
I forgot who it was that I was watching. They was talking about like learning to take a compliment. It was probably on Drink Champs. I'll be watching Drink Champs like a motherfucker. And they was talking about talking to Puff. And like learning to take a compliment because like they started complimenting Puff back. And Puff was like, nah, my nigga, you don't gotta compliment me. Yo, I know who the fuck I am. I know I'm the fucking man. You know what I mean? Like that's how I be feeling. Like I'm like, yo, I'm good. Like you know how many times like somebody's like, you know, like you look good in that. I'm like, I know. You know what I mean? Like you know, like this was not by accident. None of this is like this was all manifested. Like I set out, you know what I mean, with this goal in mind.
Exactly. These was in the cards.
You know,
these
like you was
cards. You just had to move the way you're supposed to move to get it there.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, don't always keep that energy.
Absolutely.
I don't want to keep going and keep you too long, yo. I know that.
Like, I don't know what our time
you gotta.
I mean, we're vibing. I don't really have. I'm kind of just waiting for this traffic to die down so I can be on my way. That's really all it is. So I kind of have all the time. I've been being nice, but I'm finna, since we chopping it, since we family now, I'm finna walk into the store and give me something to drink and a black in my house. So we really gonna be buying.
Yo, I would love to see an American store. It might not sound that exciting to you, but I'm over here in
Wait, what?
Montreal, right? So being in
Oh.
Montreal, everything that you're doing is, ooh, that's American shit. Like, I can't help it. There's
First of
that
all,
in-
Montreal, or no, I wasn't. Where were we? No, we were in Toronto. But I remember going to a corner store when we were in Toronto, and y'all be having the fire snacks. Like I balled
Fire
out
snacks.
on Canadian
Fire snacks.
Canadian candies
Canadian
and shit.
snacks
Like,
is different. It's
yeah,
different.
man,
I'm like,
y'all got
what?
like
I
sour
expected
candy
you
You
flavors
get
that they
shit
don't
we
even
don't
have
get
in
in
America.
America.
Like what?
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
do have a lot
Like
of sour
what?
candy. I'll get. I
Yo,
don't know. You guys
a lot
don't
of
have sour
I
candy?
love. No, we have a
No,
good
we do.
amount, right? But
But y'all have flavors that don't come out over here.
yeah, y'all
Yeah,
got
but, like,
flavors of things
Y'all have
too
like a
that we don't
Mountain
get.
Dew section, not like 2 Mountain Dew. You have a Mountain Dew section in the store, and that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
a big
mean,
no.
motherfucking
I'm
We
not.
might
I'm
amount.
have
not.
like
I'm
2 or
not a
3
big Mountain.
flavors.
I'm not a big Mountain
Yeah,
Dew
not
guy,
neither.
so like, I'm just like,
But it was
fuck
just
that.
a
I don't
variety.
care about
But
that
it's not
shit.
just Mountain Dew. It's like everything. There's just so much more stuff in a Kmart.
I mean, you think that because I mean, yes, and yes, Kmart's, that's absolutely facts. You know what I mean? But you guys have snacks that I'm telling you. When I went up there and I really had an all dressed, I didn't have in New York City. They don't have all dressed. So
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
that was new.
What that
You know
is.
what I mean? And when I tasted all dressed, I was like, yo, this is nice. This is like a little bit of salt and
Preach
vinegar
it.
mixed with a little bit of
Preach it.
with a little bit of garlic, is it? I don't know. Like onion and garlic, like it's these things
horseradish.
that
I like it.
it's kind of I like it. I like salt and vinegar already. So you already won me over if you got
Yo,
some
it's
salt and
so
vinegar
good.
cracking in there, you know? And
Yeah,
I'm just like,
same.
what? Why do you guys have this, but we don't have this in I'm like, we have so many things in New York City, but we don't have this. You know?
Right.
That's like when I
Yep,
went to
it's
Puerto
telling the
Rico.
truth.
In Puerto Rico, they be having sour cream and onion Doritos. I'm like, what?
What?
I love sour cream and onion. And I
Sour
love
cream
Doritos.
and onion Doritos?
Doritos, sour cream and onion.
Yo.
I love sour cream and onion, and I love Doritos. So when you
That
mix the
sounds
two, I'm like,
smacking.
what?
I'm
This
not
is
as
heaven that I'm in
enthusiastic
right
on
now.
this one, but
Yeah, that's different.
I mean, I'm not saying Bonnie would eat that shit. I could see how that would happen. But like, nah, I was just overwhelmed by like the amount of food item varieties. Not saying everything, but like when it comes to your like junk food sections, that shit fucked me up.
Yeah,
like,
man, America, it's crazy.
It fucked me up because I
Thank you.
thought like you think Canada has a lot. There's like a whole row. Nah,
Mhm.
my guy, it's not the same.
Yeah, nah, we got like 3 aisles in America. It'd be like, here goes soda, here goes candy, here goes
Thank
ice cream.
Can I get a little bag?
The whole soft drink section was just fucking Mountain Dew in this one Kmart, and I had this. I haven't been to the States that much, right? I went to
Oh, can I get a
Plattsburgh, New
lighter?
York, and like that's it. So I have this one. My whole
No, I'll
like
take a lighter.
picture of the USA is Plattsburgh, New York, which is probably not the best representation, but it had American shit.
Plattsburgh. Yeah, Plattsburgh. What?
That's random.
Because it's the
New
border
York?
town. Because, yo, when you
Thank
live
you.
in
Yeah,
Montreal
yeah.
and you want to buy Slim Jims or other American items, you shoot on down to Plattsburgh. And then you go through, like, the American...
Wow.
You get American
doing?
McDonald's. You got American KFC up in there.
Wait, but it's Plattsburgh where? In New York?
Yeah, it's New York State.
Man, that's
Wow.
like one of those. Like, I've been everywhere. Like, I've been to a lot of New York State. You know, we were just discussing this as well before your interview, Gab. That I was like, yo, you know, like when I talk shit about like, you know, the rest of the country, it ain't from like I've been to all the states. I know all the major cities. So like I know the vibes everywhere in the country. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm talking from like an ignorant New Yorker perspective that don't leave the block and only know New York shit and they ain't never been nowhere. Like I'm talking from like, yeah, I've been places. You know what I mean? So like real experience, you know? So like I've been to a lot of New York State cities, like cities outside of New York City, you know? And I've never been to Plattsburgh.
Bro, Plattsburgh has one reason to exist. For people from Quebec to go shopping in the States. It is the only reason this place exists. There might be like a school or some shit. I know I went there.
Yeah, there's got to be a school because the people that live there and work there.
I remember being like 21 or whatever. And for us, like, it was a huge deal to do a weekend in Plattsburgh, and we stayed overnight at the hotel in Plattsburgh. Yo, that shit was like a big deal. I haven't even really been to the state. I've been to other places, but I haven't been back to the States proper. That was it. That was my whole American experience. Was this border town that had American shit in it. And yo, the McDonald's, oh my gosh, it was like, I will never forget how good American McDonald's is, and I can't eat Canadian McDonald's no more.
It's bad.
You know, it's funny. We had Canadian McDonald's, and it was pretty decent. Like,
but you had Ontario. Hold on. You had Ontario McDonald's, which is not Quebec McDonald's. These two things don't even taste the same.
I had Quebec McDonald's, and I felt like you guys use better ingredients. I felt like this feels like it's probably healthier for me, and it's made like with better health, like better
but
like stuff like than like America's McDonald's.
Good enough health, right? Like at that point, you may as well just go get the healthy place. You know, you're
like, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but like, no, I'm just like, it's still fast food. You know, like it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I want to try McDonald's in like other countries, like Asian countries or some shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
they be having
like that's
the
what
pictures.
they said. That McDonald's be smacking. Like,
yeah,
they got shrimp burgers
to,
and shit like that.
I went to the McDonald's in Pakistan.
Yeah, I want that.
And it's a sit-down experience. So you go to the McDonald's and
you sit
down, and they bring you your breakfast. Well, we got breakfast. They bring you your eggs and shit, and I'm like, this is McDonald's. But yo, to them, McDonald's is like a 5-star experience and shit. So it's like
what?
It's like it's there. But yo, the menu's mad different because there's no like it's all halal or whatever. It's
right.
It's Israel's is
that shit probably smacking.
Yo, it was pretty cheap. It was it's when it costs like $25 for 6 people that is extra smacking, and that's Canadian dollars, so even less for y'all. It gets fucking cheap as fuck over there.
Yeah,
Israel's is pretty banging too. Anyway, we're just talking about McDonald's. I realized, but
I was gonna say I didn't eat McDonald's in Bangkok, but I had KFC. And it was the same thing. Like, it was like the same thing. Like, it was like, we bring the food to you. You know what I mean? Like, go sit down, have a seat, relax.
Did they have like cool? Did they have other sides? Like, what were their sides like?
I forgot what it was. The wife remembers better. I'll send you a text later telling you exactly what it was. The wife always remembers everything. You know me, like.
Right, because I know they have sides that are like relevant to that country.
Everything was different. Everything was different. They had more spicier chicken shit. Like, their spicy chicken shit was like on Jump Street, like, click, because out there spicy is like, yeah, this is what? How do you not spicy? Like, even when you tell them, even if you tell them hold the spice, you still getting something that, like, to a person that doesn't eat spicy is like, this is spicy. It's like, you gotta relax. This is really not that spicy. That's why,
right, like, you know, ketchup, nigga. Calm down.
You know, it's salt and pepper. It's pepper.
Right, goddamn. I'm a heat demon. Like, I love hella hot shit. Like, that's my
I'm a
shit.
fan of super hot shit. The wife is not a fan of super hot shit. She looks at me like I'm crazy. Yeah.
I am not a fan of hot shit. When you just describe that, it makes me. When I hear people describe a country's cuisine like that, it makes me kind of fearful of touristing there because I might not be able to eat a lot without discomfort.
That's true. Now, if I went to that's different because in America, you know what you expect, and also I live here, so I could just go home and take a shit. But like, if I'm like in Pakistan, I'm probably not gonna like order like the number 5 spicy because then it's like I don't know how the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not finna risk that because I do also know I'm very regular. So yeah, we're not finna.
They were really Americanized. Like, they apparently, I didn't realize this when we visited them, but like I recently found out in like the past couple months looking up how popular New York City is and tourism and shit. It's like number 8 globally, and like number 1 is Bangkok. And I was just like, that makes sense to why they they cater to all the countries out there. Like, they cater to like Italian and like all countries because it's kind of like it's like the ultimate backpack. It's the ultimate backpack tour. Like, people who backpack the world type thing, like, that's their one guaranteed stop. You know, like, everybody got to go to Bangkok, you know? So
Yeah,
like it's
that makes
very
sense.
like kind of like American friendly and shit, you know.
Hmm. Very interesting.
But we laid over in China, and when we laid over in China, their toilets really were the squat down holes in the like
Yeah, that's
airport, and
crazy.
I was like, what?
Yeah, no, I only went to the bathrooms in places in
Nice.
Pakistan that were the hotel or the work office. I did not use the washroom unless it was the workplace that I was at or the hotel. So I could not tell you what a my dude looked at me and said, "You're not using the bathroom in public," and I took him very seriously.
Yeah, I'm not shitting in no hole, man. I mean, if I have to, I guess for the experience, but like, I'd rather not.
He made no
I'd rather not
guarantees
as
that
well. I'd
cleaning.
rather not as
I
well.
want to go down that, but like, no, that's fair. Have you gotten to go? Have you gotten to travel to a lot of different places via all of your art adventures?
U.S. yeah, but other country no. Mostly because I really just got my passport and like literally, I'd probably say like 6 months before. No, I'd probably say about a year before the pandemic happened. And then we, Blimes and I, we went on tour. And then as we were, trying to get together the international tour, fucking COVID happened. So it kind of
Yeah,
stopped our opportunity to do the whole international run. But
it's
we
coming.
shall see. Yeah.
It's
There's still
coming.
opportunity there. It's
Yeah,
just
nah, it'll
it's just
come.
not as everything's just kind of fucked up right now.
It's a little slow to come back for artists, I think. But it's because
And
like
a lot of people, I'll say, because like I'll say this, like nepotism. I don't even believe in nepotism in the sense where it's like, duh, nigga. Of course, I'm going to hire my cousin or somebody I know over this nigga I don't know. Like, obviously, yes. Like, a nigga I know is going to get the opportunity over a nigga I don't know. That's just life. Get over it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like I noticed that, especially coming back from COVID and all these festivals and shit. Like, it's very evident that there are a lot of artists that kind of already had their bid in, or like, I'm
yeah.
on a first come first served basis because like you see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these lineups and it's like, well, damn, hella, these niggas haven't even put out, music in like a couple years, let alone the last year. Then you have, people like Blimes and I and other people that are like literally put out an album in the pandemic, but it's like, yeah, there's just everybody, all the spaces are taken up. Like everybody kind of like, bro, when shows come back, like I need that spot, for
You know what?
whatever reason or the next.
It's like the stagehand industry, right? Like I work in production too, on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's like that with like when it came back, it's like, yo, the first people up is like my squad, my A team.
Yeah.
Like these are my
Yeah.
guys. Like I gotta make sure that they're getting paid soon as like there's bread on the table. Like I gotta
Right.
make sure that they're like the guys that I'm putting on
Taken
all the
care of.
jobs and taking care of because they're my
Right.
guys. Like I owe them, they owe me, like it's a I know that they're my A team. I know that they're gonna, do things that I might. It's just it is kind of nepotism and it's favoritism, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And I don't really get that mad at it because I get it, because it's very much like, yeah, if I was in charge, I would do the same, the same exact thing. And it's also like, this is just the first round anyway. Like, I'm not really tripping too much. You know what I'm saying? Because there's still I just feel like next year anyway is gonna be a little bit more. I feel like I said, right now, I feel like a lot of people just got their bid in, and they're just a lot of just mutually beneficial moves. I feel like next year it's gonna be. I don't want to say back to normal because like there really isn't a normal anymore, but more so I think it'll just be, there'll be a lot more opportunities. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we just got to get through this year. You feel me? Because I think a lot of people are just winging it right now.
Facts.
A lot of winging it.
I was definitely winging it all last year, hard, heavy.
Man,
I winged it heavy, and was just out here doing all the most like fat. Like I was like, yo, Madison Avenue's closed, fam. I'm gonna shoot a video walking down this bitch. I'm gonna be
right.
Puff. I always wanted to be Puff when I was a little. I was always looking up to the dudes
It was your opportunity.
that was the that like was talking to the chicks and shit. Like I was always like, this is where I want to be at. This seems like the most logical thing for the things that I like the most in life. And I look over at Bonnie's comment, and like it probably came a long time ago, but it's like bang bang, like, yup, bang bang.
Hey, bro, it's funny. I was literally just talking to somebody the other day about coochie fritos. Like that experience will stay with me for the rest of my life. That was some of the best mofongo I've ever had, my nigga. Like to the point where I'm like, my niggas go to like New York and they'd be like, give me a food recommendation. And I'd be like, you got to go to Coochie Fritos. And they'd be like, nigga, what? I'm like, bro, just go. Like, don't
everybody always says, when you say the word, everybody's always like, Coochie what? What you say, nigga? You say Coochie what, nigga? I said food.
Trust me, I'm pretty sure I had that same response when you said it.
Like, that same response.
No, I didn't even think about that until you guys started explaining it, and then it clicked that it's coochie. But okay, but like, I didn't even.
It's Coochie Fritos.
No, it's not.
No, I just heard it. And I'm like, that sounds like something fried and delicious. I don't know why. I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, not all of it's fried, but yes, there's a lot of frying that goes into it as well.
Fritos, it sounds like frying. Like it's got a fry element.
Bro, that shit was so smacking. Like,
yes. Big facts. Yeah, that's why there's certain like little rounds that I always make sure. You know what I mean? But didn't I take you guys also to Prince Street Pizza? Or was that, you and me? And
I think so. I remember because we were walking. We were walking.
I think we went and had the pizza. Isn't that the time that I'm sorry about that. That Andre 3000 walked by and Blimes was like, ain't that Andre 3000? And I was like, I had my back towards him. So I definitely did not. And I think y'all was both.
Know.
Maybe I'm bugging and it was just Blimes. But I could have sworn it was. That. I could have sworn it was us three.
I remember we were in a park. We posted up in a park for a minute. Remember that?
Yes, that was before Coochie Fritos. But yeah, there's certain food things that I always make sure to take people to because I'm just like, I know, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've been around most of the country, so I know. And I'm like, yo, there's something that we do really well. Rib. That like people is underrated. Like people don't really know when they come here that they should be trying this. And like that's my offering and shit. Like here, enjoy this amazingness.
I will never forget it.
Let me tell you something. Direct also came on this show, and Direct said the same exact thing about the same exact food. And so it's like yo, like dead ass, like yo. This shit is like, yo, I hope that Holden now thinks to himself, like, I must eat this Coochie Fritos now when I go to New York City. You know what I mean? Like,
you have to.
Flacco got to take me to, and I will. Listen, it's part of my food tour. Like,
I'm not even gonna lie. As much as that's
part
true, I'm sitting here watch Gabs eat this, whatever this is, and I'm just like, that looks good.
Looks good.
And I'm just like that.
It was so hot, bro. I needed something to cool me down.
I respect it. Yo, this is I love this like walk around the street version. It feels really fun.
It's wild lit. Nobody's done this on the show yet. We've had one person take us on the cab with him. In New York, the homie Bones Brigante. He did a majority of the interview in his crib with like his sneaker collection behind him. He made sure his sneaker collection was behind him. There's certain things I just love about my fellow New Yorkers that I'm just like, like you're ignorant as fuck, and I love you for it, man. You know, like,
right. You gotta love it. It's authentic.
And so he did that, and then he jumped in the cab like for like the last 30 minutes, like he had to go somewhere. Like he had to go, and I was just like, yo, like we can wrap this up on the go. We ain't mad at you. And he went in the cab, and Holden got to have the experience of being in the back of New York.
In a cab the whole way. And now I think about it. Somebody else was also just in it. Either way, nobody's done a street tour in LA.
Street tour in LA. Yeah, no,
I
nobody's
don't
done
even
that.
know where
Nobody's done
you're
a street
at.
tour in
I don't know
anywhere.
what it is, but it's like that. It could be anywhere, and it's still cool.
When I did my interview, I made sure to be. I was on vacation in Puerto Rico, and I made sure to be on a beach. But that was a flex that I borrowed because I saw the homie Propane do like a sunset thing with his interview, and I was like, yo, I could get a sunset behind me in my interview. That'd be so lit. Your interview, though, this is the first street tour in LA, but really first street tour interview is very lit.
Thank you. I owe it to my ADHD.
No, it's got a vibe, and you're like one of those walking talkers, and it's very impressive.
You did a fantastic job walking and fucking talking, bro. Yo, I was sitting here drinking water, feeling bad, like, yo, I'm getting hydration and I'm not even walking. I'm not going nowhere, and I need hydration. She is doing this whole interview talking the whole time and like barely hydrating, and she don't even look like
she said it was hot and stuff. I'm like, at the beginning.
I'm like, yo, you are what? This is another level that like as like a fucking performer. I pride myself on being able to perform in certain, you know what I mean? Being able to do certain things. And like, this is like a thing that you should take pride in. I don't know if there was an award for it, you know what I mean? But you just won the award for it type shit, you know? Like,
I be locked in, my nigga. When you get me to talk about whatever,
nigga, I can
just locked in. Great conversation. I'm getting my steps in. I done got me ice cream. Like, this has been straight up. This has been good for me too. You know?
Now Holden, and you just said, I think you just talked his language.
I'm like, I had a daily challenge at work where we had to do a 30-minute walk meeting, and I'm like, bro, I can get 3,000, 4,000 steps in while talking to my fucking boss away from my computer. That's banging. That was my afternoon.
Killing all the birds, one stone.
No, for real, that made me excited though. I'm all about that step shit. I'm really bad at it lately with this computer sitting down shit, but when you can get the good step day in, oof, it just makes you feel wonderful.
But what's the weather like in Canada right now? Is it
picture New York, but like it gets colder, and I don't know if it gets hotter because I've never compared, but when you look at the hotness and you do the conversion, y'all have a different weather, so it's not like
we got more humidity probably. New York City's humid.
We're like an island.
Hella humid.
Our humidity is terrible. It's probably the same. Like I'm saying, like when I look at the summer stats, they mad comparable when I do the math. Like I would say it's that, and then picture the winter, but it's worse. We are definitely colder.
Yeah, I was we toured during the winter, so that sucked pretty hard.
Yeah, it's an
I enjoyed it, but I'm like, this would be way more enjoyable if the weather was better.
When I finally got to go to Montreal for the first time, it was after me and the wife's wedding. We went for the honeymoon to Montreal, and we went at the beginning of November. And it just so happened that they had just started to get like that fat kick of like, the cold is here, motherfuckers, and heavy and hard. You know what I mean?
That shit ain't no joke.
And that shit, like, I was like, God damn, motherfucker, this shit bite. Like in a way, like a little bit more than New York's cold bite. You know, Boston's like that too. Boston's a little bit more north than New York City, and that just. Like when I go to the homies in the winter, I'm like, why is it cold? So much like, why are y'all more north than us? Why are you doing this? Why?
Right.
I mean, that's just what it is.
Really though.
Bonnie's saying she was in New York in a heat in MIC in a heat wave, and it's the same as Montreal in a heat wave. I'm like, if it like we're all by the water. If you're really by the water, it's humid, and the humidity's really bad.
New York City is a lot of people don't realize it, but like New York City is really made up of a bunch of islands. Like Manhattan is an island, Staten Island's an island, Brooklyn and Queens are located on Long Island, which is an island. The Bronx is the only borough in the 5 boroughs of New York City that's like attached physically to New York State. So like the rest of it is all just like islands, you know? So like that's why you get a lot of humidity and a lot of fucking
we an island, so We just start one of the islands.
I will say
up
New
in
York
there.
is hella fun, even though when it's hella hot, it's like hella fun in the summertime because it's like you can't do nothing but be outside.
Facts. Everybody
And
outside.
it's like real. Like I really compare it to like Hey Arnold. Like it's real life Hey Arnold. Like there's just hella going on. There's just like hella characters and like shit happening. Like bro, this is really Hey Arnold, my nigga.
Yeah. And you know what?
I've heard.
Just finished. I love that you said that we be outside because I was just finished making a post like a few weeks ago where I was like, when people talk to like New York City people and they talk about like being outside, like you got to tone it down because we kind of like invented being outside.
Really?
Like, all we ever really known is being on these streets. Like you have people that live and die without ever having a car and they just be on the block and on the stoop and they just like, this is like the life in New York City. You got people that stand on the corner and like cops can't like really stop everybody on the corner and just assume that they're all drug dealers because New York City, though it does have many drug dealers on the corners, it's also just a city where people just be chilling sometimes on the corner. So now you're going to look crazy after a while because people are just really chilling on the corner. So it's just
there's only so many people you can stop and frisk.
You know, like eventually, like it's like, yo, now it's turned into a Nazi state and New York City can't ever look like that. Like it's so liberal that like people, you know, they're like, yo, we kill ours, but like we can't be out here mass genociding them. Like we have limits too.
How has it been? Have you noticed a difference in the city or anything as far as since weed has been legalized?
I mean, it's already kind of like before it got legalized, they had already like, you know, already like decriminalized essentially.
Yeah.
And made it that like, oh, you know, you could smoke your weed, you know, as long as it's not anywhere public that like you can't smoke. So like in Central Park, quote unquote, you can't smoke a cigarette, so you can't smoke a blunt in there either, you know? But like that's bullshit because I'll be in Central Park like smoking a bogey. It's one of them things. Like if you on the move,
like why would I not smoke in Central Park? That just
like nah, you bugging. Yeah, it's gonna happen and people do it exactly. So yeah, it's like it already had gotten a little bit more relaxed, but it's always one of them things where it's just like I guess like it still depends. I mean, I don't be, you know, I'm outside, right? But like I ain't on the corner anymore, like a corner boy, you know? So like, so it's not like I know, right, like the way that they're being with like everybody that be outside on the regular. But like, you know, for a while there it was still like, you know, oh, you could do it if you in the white part of the city, you know, like if you in the hood, you know, you still put your blunt down. I guess it's also just habit for us, right? Where it's just like we've lived a certain way for so long. But it's just like these habits
laws mean nothing.
Hard to break. You know what I mean? Like you see the boys drive by. I was in my we do a show on Sundays at my bar by Yankee Stadium, and like I bring a champagne bottle because they don't serve champagne at the bar. And so like I'm like with my champagne bottle in the enclosure with like a blunt in my hand, and like the cops like driving by in like the van, and like dude tries to like roll down the window and be like, yo, let me get some of that. And I'm like, I look at him like, you gotta relax, bro. Like first of all, you gotta relax, period. You're a cop. Like you need to stop this friendly shit. Like do that shit with younger people. Like I'm already too far gone. My experience with you guys is jaded. You're never gonna win me over. Like you could do all the nice shit in the world. You can fucking let me out and I'm gonna still be like, fuck 12 all day. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, so, you know, but like, I can't really attest to the way that like it is for everybody in the hood, but I feel like for a second there, it felt still very much so like, yo, put your blunt down, boys driving by. You know, like you're still not comfortable for a lot of the people that spent a majority of their lives living with the shit being illegal. And like
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Y'all will get there though. Give it time.
We will. I feel like once they open, once the stores, because that's what I think took us so long with from it decriminalizing to going full legal, is that like the people, let me be correct in the way I say this, right? The women of color in the city that are like out here really fucking doing the work, right? And making sure that these politicians ain't getting away with certain shit, like the women of color in Congress and the senators and the all of them are the ones that have like were making sure that like New York's laws were like that, like the corporations can't be like out here like 100% with all the like bread and like that no people of color are like benefiting at all. Like they're trying to make sure that like for every like, you know, big corporate white storefront that opens up, like you have like equal opportunity for like a black owned person of color owned minority, you know, the way they call it.
And also, there shouldn't be a one single person that's still behind bars because of a weed offense.
It should not.
That's really where niggas should have started.
They did let out finally to everybody from Rikers that was there for weed charges and shit.
Like that's just fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane to me.
Super insane. Like you can't like it's the silliest. Where it's just like, how can you deny the racism of the country when you see shit like this, bro? You know, like what do you like? Do you think that we're all blind and dumb? Like now we all got the internet and we all talking. Like you can't like you going backwards out here by like not like. You know, so like I think that's where like I think that what we need to like focus on as a country is getting it like decriminalized federally, right? Because right now the feds still have like this looming energy over everything, right? And like anybody who's in the business knows about like the problems with the banks, maybe depending on your state, and like you know, and it's just one of them things where it's just like you gotta chill, like because it has like an energy where like we could come take all your shit any minute now. You know, if the feds decide that they want to raid your shit, like the federal government runs by a different law. And it's just like, you just got to chill,
it's
man.
So
like,
dumb.
It's dumb. Like the whole country should be decriminalized and declassify weed from like having it up there with like fucking heroin, like where it don't belong. Like, stop it, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of weird
I think that's where we all at.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Pretty much. It's just a fucking plant, guys. Let's all relax here. It's just a fucking plant.
For real.
No, I mean...
Just a goddamn plant.
I always thought it was strange, but like I'm in Montreal where you smoked like it was legal until it got legal, and then you smoked like it was legal, but you could get a fine. Because
y'all got some good weed out there. I will say that. I did have some good ass weed when I was in Canada. I was impressed.
Honestly, it's not as... I don't know if it's just my tolerance is higher and I'm getting older, which is possible, or it's that the government interfered. But, like, shit's not what it was. They did this big old fucking raid on Quebec farms and a few other places, like with helicopters and shit and Google Maps, and they fucked up some shit. And then...
Damn, they like fucked up like the ingredients or something?
Like, I'm just saying, but then the government came in and they put a 30% THC maximum on what can legally be sold. So now if you're a black market, or anyway, you're a grower, you've been through a process where you're trying to apply to the government to get your weed on, right? So now your weed, I mean, I'm not saying that you're not going to have better shit over there, but you're like mass market operations are really just government baits, right? So... now everyone's growing shittier weed to get government money.
Yeah,
so if
that's true.
So if you know people, it's a wonderful situation still, is because those people are now having to try hard because a lot of their customers are now going to the government. And in Quebec, it is just the government. The government sells you weed, and that's your only choice. And
that's true.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, when the government gets their hands on it, it's usually just it's trash. So it's not surprising.
Yeah, facts.
And it's like a lot of people aren't going to know that because they're not going to get in contact with somebody that has like a decent product that you can acquire via gifts.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
And you have to like really compare it to be like, yo, I'm coughing way less on this shit. Yo, my throat don't feel quite the same. And then you go back to the government and see what they're selling. And you're like, yo, to get that same shit costs like double the price. Like there's this premium on like, because yo, they realize that the real money is in middle class people that like a 3.5 to a whatever, an eighth. I think that's what y'all call it, an eighth. Will last
Yes,
them
an
like
eighth, sir.
fucking I don't know, a week with their homies for the 3
What?
times. Yeah,
The
because this.
fuck?
Wait, an eighth
I'm not
lasts a
lying to
week
y'all.
with other people?
Because these people
Word.
smoke like fucking 2 joints a
I
week.
said that is 2 blunts, Sam.
No, my
That's
guy,
2 blunts for me.
I'm with
crazy.
you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I smoke like a lot on this very call. But then I started talking to people because I'm working with people who are of the economic sphere they're targeting, who were just holding off to legalization. Then it got legal. So for them who are used to dropping $200 on alcohol at a club, what's $70 on 7 grams of weed? It's actually kind of cheaper. So
Yeah, I
all
guess
of a
you're right.
sudden, the really good shit, it's not being sold to potheads. It's just being sold to
Just like
people willing to
tourists
pay
and
this
shit.
premium, who want this like great experience, and that's being kind of normalized. And it's fucking weird to me. I'm like, y'all, and then a lot of, let's say, poorer people then who go the legal route are just not able to get good weed no more. But they don't know that because they stick this percentage on that shit. So if you think the percentage is what matters, and you're not thinking about terpenes, and you're not thinking about all that other bullshit, like, I don't know, even just if it's
And
dry
those tests,
or
those
dank.
numbers are fudged anyway. That shit's not even accurate. Like you even see, I don't know if it's like, well, obviously you said like the cap is like 30% out there, but like in America, like you'll see in just regular dispensaries, they'll have like, you get like a sativa and there'll be like 41% THC. And it's like, bro, that's not even fucking possible. Like
I've heard people.
This is not 40% THC. Like,
okay,
where are y'all getting these numbers from?
So then you have like
I always do it by
reserves
feeling too. Where I'm like, if you're not knocking me out literally, bro, then that couldn't have been that shit you just said, okay?
Right.
Because I know
40% THC would have me fucked up. Like, and I'm not, so that's not possible.
And you know that you've had and still occasionally get that like that strain with that fucking from that grower that shit sits you on your motherfucking ass. So it's like it's possible. And I'm pretty sure he's not fudging his numbers out here talking about 41%, bro. Like
he don't even know that. He's just like, this is what it's called, my nigga. Do you want it or not?
Fire. You know
once
what I
you
mean?
like get past the percentages and experiment and shit and realize what terpene, because I'm not gonna lie, I got the percentage bug from it. I've been smoking my like 12 years, whatever, and I saw the percentages and I couldn't help it. I was like, I want high percentage weed. And then I realized that doesn't necessarily mean good weed, because I accidentally found an ounce that was like a mid percentage weed. I'm like, yo, this one just smokes nicer. It's not a good price, but it's even their ounces are fucking pricey. Like they made like, anyway, they make the prices not right. Like it makes the black market nicer.
They're not. You could just charge literally whatever the fuck you want. But I'll say being from Seattle, and Seattle has such a, or I'll say Washington in general, really it's the whole Pacific Northwest, like
Northwest,
Oregon weed, Oregon and Seattle are almost like synonymous. Like when people be like, oh no, Oregon weed is better. It's like, well, they coincide. You feel me? Like a lot of Washington people grow in Oregon just because like, there's more space, it's more spacious or whatever and vice versa. But coming from Seattle with the weed culture and like, I worked in medical marijuana and I was there, like working in medical as medical was turning into recreational and like seeing all the politics, like, with the shit, like it was just it was really crazy industry to be in as far as medical. Cause it was like really very much the wild, wild west, like working in it, like, when you're working in something that's like too lit, it's like there's no way this is gonna last. It's like, this is like, we're getting way too much money. Like the government does not know what the fuck going on. Like it's really, we're really selling a lot of
that was
here.
You know
like,
what? That
no
was
way.
like the music. That was like the music industry and like the end of like that or the 2000s, at the beginning of the 2000s.
Yeah, when niggas was paying like $1 million for music videos, like there's no way this is about
bro,
to last.
that this is not the budgets were so astronomical that it's just like bro, good for everybody that got to get it, like good for everybody that got to get it. Like good for you.
Right. But once that was done, that shit was fucking done. So yeah, that's how it was with medical. And then when it turned into recreational, it was like fucking Nazis. Like they were just so fucking strict on fucking everything. And then like you know, on top of that, just the price points are different. Like I still get ounces of like some good for like 150, 175 at the most. Like you come out here, niggas is talking about you know, like 250 or like some rent like 280 for like some raw. Like first of all, 280. What the fuck is 280, my nigga? Like that is such a random price for an ounce. And then like za, what is za? Like what is like?
Yo,
bro,
New
I'm
York,
from Seattle,
yo.
my nigga. You're not finna
New
play me, bro.
York, yo.
Like what are you talking about?
New York,
how much
really
is it in
be
New York?
fucking shit up sometimes. Where like it's like why y'all like it's just the thing that we do where it's just like yo, this is the new lit shit. So now all the rappers got to talk about the za. You know what I mean? And it's just like
I remember when it was diesel for y'all. It was just diesel.
Yeah. It was just diesel. Yo, it was just diesel for us for a long time.
Oh my god, I never
long
realized
time,
that.
yo.
I've heard people say that, and I had no idea what the fuck it was. So
before that, it was
fucking
Purple
weed.
Haze,
I
and
didn't know
then
that was
Diesel
weed
took
until
over
just
for almost
minute.
like a solid decade. Where like
yeah.
it's just like bad. Our reputation that I'm like I look at knowing shit, right? I look at my fellow New Yorkers. I'm like, you motherfuckers out here fucking up the whole game, motherfucking. That's why
really
the West Coast be fucking selling packs of fucking sour to New York for crazy upcharge. Like it's like this shit is trash, bro. Nobody wants this. They can't sell it anywhere else. Okay, nobody wants this fucking shit. I don't know why the fuck.
Even
like,
even if it is all right, because I remember the last time I was in New York before everything happened. My homegirl, she had taken me to some spot. It was like such some New York ass shit. Like it was this fucking door, but the door was an elevator. And in the elevator was this big buff ass nigga. And you go to the elevator and then you show your ID. Then you get, it was like this weed club or whatever. And I already had my own fucking weed that I brought with me. But I remember like you go in there and there was like, they had like a little mini dispensary.
Yeah,
and like,
we've
I
been
remember
big
like the
on
weed
the
looked,
parties now.
yeah, like the weed looked okay, but it was like the prices was crazy. Like, bro, even if that is some good, like I'm not finna risk paying like, you feel me, like $80 for an eighth, and this is some boo boo. Like, I'll shoot this place up. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yo, okay, I had that experience actually. Oh my gosh, we went to Toronto. Now Montreal, as you were talking, has way affordable weed, and I should just shut my fucking mouth and appreciate how good the prices are for what I get, and it's a beautiful thing. Montreal's wonderful now. That's my takeaway from all of this. I think I get to pay
good for y'all.
100 Canadian per ounce.
Which and what is that? What is that?
Like 80
like equal to American?
80.
Oh wow! And it's some like good.
Yeah, but that's like deal shit, right? But like let's say regular 100, 120. No, 120, so about 100 USD is an average for like if you know a guy. And then the government's making it at the government's raising the price to like I don't know, 125, 130 your price. Like that's how much weed costs here. It's not as expensive. Then I get to Toronto and we walk into this store because there's like it had just been legalized and I had like we had like a day left and we ran out of weed. So we walk. There's 5 weed stores. We fucking go down to this one. We walk in and there's these weird salespeople with funny outfits on, and we go upstairs and they trying to like talk to me, and I'm like, I don't need you to talk to me. I need to know where the prices are. I just need to go know what are you doing. And they're trying to like have this sales pitch really conversation. I'm like, bro, how much does that weed cost? How much is the strong stuff? Wow. Anyway, it was I'm like, I had to walk out the store, and then I end up realizing all of the stores are this expensive, and maybe that was a mistake to walk out that one because they're all terrible. And I could. It was that expensive. It was like
They done fucked up the game. They fucked it up for like the street. I always get like just because. Like I said, I'm spoiled and like I'm a weed snob, so I always get my weed from pretty much the same guys or like street dealers. But like definitely the recreational game just fucked up the weed game in general because it's like it's hard to compete with those prices. Like there'd be like I know in Seattle there's a dispensary in DeSoto which is like downtown Seattle, and every Friday like everything is like 50% off, so you can get like an ounce of like some pretty decent for like 120, and then you got the street dealers that are like trying to compete with that, where it's like, bro, I could just go into a store and get this if it's like you're finna play with me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it did kind of fuck it up for the
Yo,
you know, the
if-
ones that are still
Yeah,
like growing the
New
weed and
York,
selling it. But that's the
New
way to
York,
go.
definitely a thing that's happened.
New York
for
is in
sure.
a place where like you're paying like probably like 220 for an ounce of some fire, you know, like of whatever, you know, strain it is that, you know, more than likely some indoor or whatever X, Y, and Z, then you're paying like maybe even more, like some 240, 260 sometimes for the ounce. So it's just like,
And the cold part is they didn't capitalize. They didn't capitalize on the rappers. Like these niggas are buying. It's like, okay, if we're breaking down the math, if like an ounce of like some decent, you know, in New York is 220, you know, a nigga is gonna add a tax onto, you know, just the
oh,
nigga
you
tax.
already,
So it's really like it's really almost like 300. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so
What?
now you niggas are
That's
flexing.
how much that
you
shit
niggas are,
costs?
yeah, but it's like, okay, so now
Yeah.
you're flexing this you know, this pound of weed, and it's like, bro, that's not a flex. They are getting over on you, family. Like you probably paid like $4,000 for that fucking
Absolutely.
for that QP, and it's like that's not really a flex, bro. Like they are
Not
literally
a flex.
taking advantage of you.
Yes,
Like you
they
should be
are.
able to get that for
Yeah,
like
yo.
you can get some good for like 2,500 anywhere else, but you're just paying for it because it looks cool. And like niggas are just, you know,
Yeah.
like
I try
niggas
to
will pay whatever.
I try to explain it to New Yorkers, but it's hard. Like, yo, because they're so like New Yorkers, like, yo, once we get a train of thought in our head, like this is the way that it's supposed to be. It's just this is the way that it's supposed to be, and this is the
Yeah.
only way that it can be. And it's just like
Right.
it don't need to be like that. You know what I mean? Like
It
I
really
know
don't.
people out there on the West Coast, and they talk about us in a certain way that it's just like, you know, like we deserve to be talked about like this. This is the way that we talk about this is the way that we talk about everyone else when it comes to shit like clothes and you know, like whatever is the new shit that we want to, like, you know, be like, oh, this is the litness, you know. The same way that we talk shit about everybody else for being behind on shit is the way that we get talk shit about with the bud. And it's because of the sour for 10 years plus thing really like put us behind it, put us in like put us in the fucking ice ages, yo. Like
It
people
did.
be
No one's
okay.
y'all.
So there will be people that will walk up to me to this day, and you know they don't smoke weed, in my opinion. Whatever. They don't know what they're talking about when they start spitting that sour D's. I'm like, what are you talking about? Man, they have some funny ass names up here. Gorilla Glue. If you're talking Gorilla Glue, you probably know a guy who has some shit. You know, like if you're talking one of them guys or whatever. But Diesel? I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, sour's like, and
also,
then it's
also you're in the age where no one fucking, you can call anything. You know what I'm saying? Gorilla Glue, cookies,
big facts,
Runts, Skittles, like
big
these
facts.
are just hot names. So you can just have some regular ass weed. You can get these bags literally off Amazon or your local corner store.
Well, it got a little different
weed in a bag,
because now you can scan your weed,
and
there's apps that will tell you what strain it is. So there's a little bit of visual consistency. So if you scan that bud and it doesn't come up what that name is, you can go back to your person and be like, bro, I use this weed app and the AR technology says this weed is this weed. And that's actually
that makes sense to a nigga that smokes, but like a regular nigga has never been. First of all, he doesn't.
Never.
That doesn't. A niggas is not going to be comparing and contrasting.
Regular niggas just finished getting their fucking smartphone, right? From the trap phone that they was with for all them years. And he doesn't even have a credit card connected to this. You know what I mean? He's not even going. He's. You know how much trouble it is to get him to download the app. Like, you crazy? You crazy,
I'm
bro?
finna just buy this weed, nigga.
I deal with those
City.
people.
I can't help it.
Let me tell you something. I deal with those people when it comes to like getting them paid, and it's still like pulling teeth. Like, bro, trust me, this is easier than you wasting a bunch of money coming downtown to our offices and like filling out paperwork and like killing trees by like filling out papers when like there's this like digital app that like you can sign something with, and everything is super easy, bro. You just gotta email, and they're like, email, like what? Email, like they're over here typing like this and shit on their phone still. Like, bro, what are you doing?
Just not tapped in, not tapped in at all.
I mean, I guess that's fair. I mean, I don't know. My city's got a lot of tech shit happening, so I'm just always thinking about the gizmos and the gadgets.
I hate to dip, guys, but my phone is on 10%.
Yeah.
And we've really chopped it
Yo,
up.
That's fair.
we know we
just went,
chopped it up
like-
as fuck. Yo, I'm actually mad at you, by the way, and I thought about it like a few minutes ago, like how like you just flipped this whole shit. And it's like now you
Oh,
asking us questions.
Nah, I liked
And
it.
like you were like interviewing us and shit, getting to know us.
Thank you.
I'm like,
Thank you for being on my show.
like,
It's been great, you guys.
I'm like this hood motherfucker right here.
Nah, it's just cool.
like scoped us, like did the old okey doke, like yo, I'm gonna give you what you want, right? But like I'm gonna get this out of you. Like now I need to know about you, like because now you know too much about me. So now I gotta know something about you.
And it
I
was like,
appreciate
I watched
y'all.
it
I
happen
appreciate
too.
y'all being guests on my show. This has been
Nah,
great,
for
y'all.
real. It was like great. It was like she's like, yo, wait a second. I could end this when I want because I'm in control. Boom. We're gonna talk about what I want now. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? She's definitely
No, we
got
just
all
chopping it up. We just hey, you know, we having a good
No,
time.
but it was
right?
wonderful. I don't get
It
to
was
talk
a wonderful
about.
conversation.
Yo, I mean, it's about
Fantastic
perspectives, right?
conversation.
We got to hear
Yes.
all these
Right.
different perspectives on different subjects. I mean, it's not really a formula or a rule. If the conversation is litty, then people
Right.
gonna want to
No.
like be engaged in it. And there's been people watching. It's like, to me, it was
Nice.
fun, a great use of time.
It's fucking Littyyy, bro.
Yeah, man.
You're-
There's still so much more to talk about. We could definitely
There
do a part
is
two.
exactly.
You feel me?
We're gonna definitely do a
Absolutely.
part two because that's what was fantastic about it. You left a lot that we still got to
Yo,
talk
like,
about.
I don't know.
So
Right.
Like we did the part that would come after your story instead of your story on some rush shit, which turned into a beautiful thing, which wasn't even needed to be rushed. So it was just perfect.
Right.
And your energy is
Yeah,
wonderful,
man, this is
Gifted
hella
Gab. It
Fantastic.
was my pleasure to meet
Thank you, guys.
Honestly,
Likewise.
our pleasure. Absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank
For
you,
having me.
sis.
This
Love
was
you.
lovely. Love you too,
Thank
man.
you.
And
For
thank
real.
y'all on the internet
See you
who
soon,
are watching
hopefully.
it. And just thank y'all for being here watching it. You know, just everyone on the live, everybody in the future.
Yes, word.
Shout out end of the week and make sure y'all follow them at or just eodub.com and all their shit's over there. It's the simplest place. And all of Gifted Gab's links are going to be down below in the future when you see this video, etc. And thank
Yes,
y'all for
sir.
real reals. I don't know if you have any last words that you would like to say to the people at Gifted Gab.
Shit, I mean, how you say you're gonna drop the links, but everything is Gifted Gab. You can find me Gifted Gab on, all the streamings, anywhere you listen to music, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all Gifted Gab. Also look up Blimes Brixton and Gifted Gab BAG. We got some music together with my rap partner. And yeah, man. Like I said, we got to do this part two. And
Yes,
Dutch, I'm
we do.
definitely finna be in New York soon, so we're gonna have to do Coochie
Oh, you
Fritos
already
part
know.
two. We're gonna have to
You
film
already
it.
know.
You know what I'm saying? Because
already
I be
know.
trying to tell niggas.
Let me know. We
And I
can
think
shoot
the
a
name,
whole music
kind
video.
of be like, what is that? So like, yeah, we gotta like really give niggas the essence.
Shooting a whole music video
Y'all
now.
should do it
It's gonna be a
live.
movie.
I'm gonna
It's
say
gotta
this
be a movie.
while we're still live for a second. Y'all, when you do this, go live on Twitch and make it a thing. Is what I'm trying to say. Make
No,
it a
absolutely.
Okay.
It's gonna be a thing. Absolutely.
I would tune
Say
in
no
to
more.
said
Listen,
thing.
Listen, volume 3 is gonna be called Coquitos and Cuchi Fritos. So it's just like I'm about to be on a whole campaign for a few years now.
I'm about to say, bro,
Even
find
though I
the
already
beat. We
been-
might have to just make a song. Like we might have to
Let
make
me
a
know.
song.
I
We
got
might
you.
get
I'm gonna
picked
start.
up, you feel me? Yeah.
Yo,
We
thanks
gotta
send-
do it.
again.
About to send some shit.
All right, y'all. I appreciate
love you.
y'all.
Take care.
Love you
Live-
too, man. Y'all have a
live
good
and
one.
prosper, everyone. Have a great day. It was great having y'all.
Peace.